Let's see the properties of systems. The very first property of systems is linearity. Linearity is one of the important parameter, and one has to check the system's linearity in the process of knowing the behavior of the system. So the system is said to be linear if it satisfies the superposition condition. So what is the superposition condition? It says that the weighted sum of inputs should be equal to the weighted sum of outputs. Mean, if x1 is multiplied with any value, maybe a or alpha, and similarly x2 is multiplied with another value, let's say the constants, then output should be, just let's say output of x1 is y1 and x2 is y2, then the output should be such that it is alpha into y1 and beta into y2. The constants which are getting multiplied with inputs should be given in this fashion, where the inputs are applied together or applied individually and combined via alpha and beta later. Then, for example, the squarer is non-linear. We will note that always the square equation is non-linear in nature. Why? Because if we are giving an input as alpha into x1 of t plus beta into x2 of t to our system, then it is doing the squaring operation. So it gives the square of that value. The square of this input is nothing but, in this way it can be written. But this is not equal to like alpha square into x1 square of t. Let's say we get this one when x1 is the input, and we get when x2 is the input, we get this one. But we are getting an extra term like 2 alpha into this, because alpha into y1 of t is nothing but x1 square of t, and y2 is nothing but x2 square of t. But here it should be x2 square, but we are getting this term as an extra. So the value of this right side is not equal to the output. So as we are not getting this weighted sum of inputs is equal to weighted sum of outputs, the system is no longer linear. So it is said to be a non-linear system. Then the next point is the time invariance. The second property of systems is time invariance. It is also one of the most important property. So time variance and time invariance are the most important things. When we say the system is time variant, then the properties or the output of the system changes with respect to time. And when we say that the system is time invariant, then the output of the system will not change with respect to time. And certainly one expects the system to be time invariant to be the more perfect one, because it should give its output irrespective of at what time we take it. We take the output of that system. Now how we study? So here we study by giving the time shift to the input. So it may be a time advance or it may be a time delay. Now x of t minus t naught, the time shifted version of the signal x of t, if it is applied as the input, then the output is y of t minus t naught for any value of t naught. So t naught can be 1, 2, or it can be plus or minus anything, it doesn't matter. So if x of t minus t naught results into y of t minus t naught, then we say the system is time invariant. Let's consider y of t is equal to cos of omega t into x of t. And to this system, when cos of omega c into t, if t is replaced with t minus t naught, then we know cos of omega c, t is replaced with t minus t naught, then it takes up the form cos of a plus or minus b form, and it is not equal to cos of omega ct just. So the system is said to be time not time invariant, or it is said to be time variant, because its value changes, as cos of omega c into t minus t naught is giving cos of a minus b, and cos of a minus b can be given with a formula, and it is not just equal to cos of omega ct. So the system is not a time invariant. The next one is causality. So the system can be causal or non-causal depending upon the kind of the system. The output y of t depends only on the past and present inputs and not on the future input. Then the system is said to be causal in nature. All physical real-time systems are causal because we cannot anticipate the future. And for example, image processing is non-causal, as non-causal filters like blurring masks and all. So it comes in case of the image processing steps, we don't mind here. So let's see, the systems are of what type? If a system, let's consider a system, if that system's output y of t is depending on the past or and even the present values, it may depend on just past, it may depend on just present, or it may depend on both of them, then it is referred as a causal system. But if it depends on the future value, then it is said to be non-causal. The next point is the memory of the system. The system is with memory or without memory is one of the most important aspect. And usually we consider x of t as the input to the system and y of t as the output, and we represent the output of the system just like this, t into x of t. System with memory. A system y of t has memory if its output at time t naught depends on the input x of t for t greater than t naught or t less than t naught. That is, it depends on the values of the input other than x of t naught. So let's elaborate this one. So let's say right now the time is t naught. Then our output of the system y of t or y of t naught should depend on just x of t naught. It should not depend on x of the other values than t naught, neither future values nor the past values. Or I can say that a system is said to be with memory if it depends on the future or and past values of the input. If the system is depending on just the present value of the system, present value of its input, then it is said to be without memory, memoryless it is said to be. If the output of the system depends on only the present value of the system, it is memoryless system. But on the other hand, if it depends on if the output of the system at the present instance depends on the past or just on past or just on future or on both of those, then it is referred to be with memory. For example, V of T naught is equal to R into I of T naught. For example, in electrical systems, resistance is said to be a memoryless. Now here, V of T naught is the output of the system and I of T naught is the input for the system, where the output is just depending on the present value of the input. So it is without memory. It is memoryless. Now let's see a capacitive sort of a system. The system's output, I mean the voltage equation it may be, is given by 1 by c into integration from minus infinity to t naught I of t dt. Then this system is said to be, now present value of the output depends on, so from minus infinity the integration runs, means I of minus infinity, I of again the values like it may be any value up to t naught. Then it is certainly depends on the past values, this with memory. Now y of t is equal to t plus 5 into x of t. Now here t plus 5 into x of t is there. T plus 5 is a constant here, whatever it may be. Now it depends on the values of the input other than x of t naught. Now it depends on x of t. Y of t depends on just x of t. It is neither x of t plus or minus something. So it is without memory. It is memoryless. But here when we go for representing this z of t, it is a square. So x of t plus 5 the square. So x of t plus 5, the square of this one is given by, if we expand it may be like x of t square, x of 2t something, we may get 2 into x of t plus something we are going to get, and because of that we may depend on the future values, so it becomes with memory. And a of t is equal to x of 5. A of t is equal to x of 5. It is a constant, so it is not at all depending upon the present value of the system. It is a constant, so certainly it becomes a memoryless system. A system is said to be, the next point is invertibility. So invertibility of a system. So let's think that x of t is the input to a system, particular system, and output is y of t. Now if this output y of t is fed to another system and the result out of that system is x of t, then the second system is said to be the inverse of the first one, or vice versa. For example, y of t is equal to 2 into x of t, then means the system is multiplying by 2, or it is doing the double of the input. Then this inverse system, as 2 into x of t is fed here, so it may have 1 by 2 as its transfer function, and when this 2 into x of t gets multiplied with half, the result would be x of t. So these kind of systems are referred as invertible systems. For example, multiplication and division are the invertible systems. Addition and subtraction are the invertible systems. Likewise, the integration and differentiation are the invertible systems, but square and square root are not invertible, because we can, if some value is fed, we can get the square of it, but when it is given to the square root system, then we make it like 2 options will be there, because if the number is plus 2, then the output would be 4, and even if the number is minus 2, the output would be 4. But we don't know, in case of an inverse system, the exact prediction of the input will not happen. Root of plus or minus we give, so there is no definite answer out of or transfer function for this inverse system when it is a square root. So square root is usually referred as not invertible, so it has not been counted in invertible systems. So these are the properties of the system. We can see the further things in the next video.